Welcome to my presentation about the up-and-coming Ultra Beasts. This will not really be a lesson, but rather a first impression, because it's fun to theorize about new cards, but until we play them, it's very early to judge how good they are and why they're good or bad, whatever. So this will just be for fun and maybe give you ideas on what to play on day one. Ultra Beasts, like I didn't notice the code side down there. Hiding behind Lusamine. Basically, Pokemon from another dimension. Personally, really like them. They're from Gen 7, that's why they came after the Gen 7 expansion. And the peculiarity is that they are part of an Ultra Beast tribe, which means they can access exclusive synergies, just like they did in the physical TCG many years ago. And usually they're really strong synergies. The playstyle tends to be fairly aggressive because, with one exception, they're all basic Pokemon. One card I want to particularly highlight before looking at all the others is Lusamine. If your opponent has at least 1 point, you can attach 2 energies from the discard pile to one of your Ultra Beasts. It doesn't say energy zone, it says discard pile. It's the first ever card to say that, which means if you touch energy to a Pokemon and maybe you got discarded by effect, maybe you retreated them and you had to pay the cost, or they got knocked out and everything went to the discard pile, those will be zones from which you will get the energies. And obviously I think this is an incredible, which will heavily impact deck building for Ultra Beast based archetypes. Then, before looking at what I think will be the main archetypes, there's Celesteela, which has an incredible ability. Once per turn you can switch between your active Ultra Beasts and your bench Ultra Beasts. We've seen with Solgaleo how good an ability that allows 3 switches can be. And this, as long as you play all Ultra Beasts, you can do it with all your Pokemon. So yeah, it's something, let me tell ya. The attack is, I don't think you're gonna really care that much about the attack, because I mean 100 damage is a lot, but half of the time it just doesn't do anything. Yeah, it's unreliable, but maybe in very specific circumstances, if you really need to, you can use the attack. But I think the main reason you want to play Celesteela is for the ability and the amazing utility it can provide. So now let's look at what I believe will be the main 3 archetypes of Ultra Beast. The first one is the bugs. I mean, I know Kartana is not a bug type in the video games, but whatever. Grass type decks, they have 2 Pokemon which can attack on turn 1. Maybe you play both, maybe you only play one of them depending on the metagame. You have options. Then, after one or 2 of those get KO'd, you can put Buzzwole in the active, use Lusamine, and attack with Buzzwole. Like, it does 120 damage, with the only drawback that you can't use the attack twice in a row. But the thing is, if you have a second Buzzwole in the bench, or you do some shenanigans to retreat it and then switch it again in the active, technically you can use the attack again. And I mean, the thing with Lusamine, I believe you can retreat a Buzzwole, you will discard 2 energies, and then add you get a second Buzzwole in the bench and you attack those 2 energies back with Lusamine, and then the energy per turn, so you can immediately charge the second Buzzwole. Or you can do something a bit more clunky, but I think it might still be an option. A cool option in certain situations is retreat Buzzwole. Spoilers. Use Celesteela to put it again in the active, you reattach the energies with Sabrina. Lusamine. I say I don't know why I say Sabrina. I tend to call Lusamine Sabrina. Well, you attach it again with Lusamine, and yeah, you can use Big Big again, because the effect that the drawback goes away if it leaves the active. At least I believe that's how it goes. If it's not, then I'll take the L. I don't care. And the second archetype, which is probably the one I'll be most interested in, is the Dark type. Basically like a fusion between the Poison types and the Dark types in the games. They're all Dark types, so they just fit in the same deck. Nagadil, 1 energy, 40 damage, Poison, that's a good attack. It's not gonna go active on turn 1 if you go second, because it's a stage 1, but we're already seeing the like stage 1s with 1 energy are good. We've seen Executor Yets in the past, and more recently Crabominable Yets. So yeah, I believe Nagadil will also be good. And he has Nilego has an ability which I think is very strong, which increases the amount of the opponents receive from poison. Like over the course of a game, that can add up. That can be a lot of damage. Nilego is also a decent attacker, even though I think you want to keep it ideally in the bench. And then after, the opponent has done a bit of KO, you have energies in the discard pile, you put Guzzlord. Guzzlord, like 170 HP for a basic is 8 ton. Like, that's a thick ass boy. It's a tank, and it requires a lot of energies, but 120 damage with no drawback is really nice. Plus, if you begin with Gaswall in the active, you can use the first attack, which does some damage and has the effect of one of the most annoying supporter cards that exist. Like, it's the Team Rocket supporter card. I forgot what's called. Like, that's an option, albeit in most cases I believe you want to go with Celesteela. Oh, by the way, here's a bonus archetype.
Also,
I will try out Niligo Cloudsire. I believe it will work well together. Will they be the best deck in the game? Yes. I mean, no, not really, but I will try it out. Every expansion I try to make Cloudsire work, and Niligo seems really cool with it. So yeah, I will try that out. So lastly, there's the 2 remaining Ultra Beasts. I mean, technically there's a third one, but you'll see later. And those will be like all the Ultra Beasts that currently exist. And these don't really fit in the other archetypes. Maybe you can make a bots deck, which in the physical TCG, bots decks are decks that work with different attackers, usually different type attackers, to be flexible and to potentially have a higher chance of being super effective against the opponent. And circuitry is decent, I guess. Maybe some patches to deck will find out will also like it. But Cephalon, like 70 damage is a big drawback, but 130 for 3 energies and a basic is really nice. Maybe in the late game you have other fire type attackers. You use Lusamine, charge up a Cephalon and do a late game bomb, and you won't care about the damage because maybe you win the game with attack. And maybe the bots deck will not work, but I can see a future in which these find a home in non-Ultra Beast decks. And then there's Then there's the last Ultra Beast. You can figure out which one it is by exclusion, but since it's a leaked card, it was not officially announced, it's technically a spoiler. And if you do want to avoid it, you can click in the description the timestamps to avoid the spoiler. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. It's this thing. It's low resolution because it's a leak. What is this? It's something, right? I mean, 150 HP for basic, really good. The second attack is something, like discard 5 cards. Like if your opponent is an evolution deck, you might ruin their day. If you play it, I guess you have a deck that won't mind it, or like it's built around that. And if your opponent like heavily relies on evolution, you might just discard an evolution card, a rare candy, something, and yeah. If you can get up, it's really powerful, but if you guys 2 psychic energies and 2, how are you going to make it work? Like, how do you do some really junk stuff? I guess it was the Alga, but like then how are you gonna attack the psychic energies? You could do Giratina Lunala, but then it's a lot of Pokemon, like one of the stage 2, and you still need the metal energies, so like I don't think it will work now, but maybe in the future there's potential. But like, it's definitely a fun card to try and make it work, but I don't think it will be consistent enough. Then lastly, I know we've seen all the Ultra Beasts, but there are a few other cards that I want to mention. The first is Shiinotic. I mean, the ability of Shiinotic is really strong. Once they return, you can get a random Pokemon from the deck. It's really good, but is it worth it? Like, it's a stage 1. At best, it's gonna be active on turn 2. And if you use search cards, you might get the evolution line instead of the other Pokemon that you want to search. So maybe I'm wrong, and I will totally admit that if I will be wrong, but I don't see it personally. But I thought it was more worth mentioning. And the other one is Tapu Koko, which it's basically Pikachu X but better. Like it's completely better. Like Pikachu X, the genetic ape, it's one that has no business existing anymore. Basically, Tapu Koko has more health, and then like it requires 3 energies, but the first attack can just charge itself. Like Pikachu X on turn 1 doesn't do anything. Tapu Koko can do 20 damage, and then it will do 90 damage on turn 2, like unconditional. Pikachu X can also do that, but it requires a full bench of electric-like Pokemon, which is definitely harder to do. Tapu Koko is just better. If you really like Pikachu X, you might try out Tapu Koko X, I guess. It's kinda sad, but also really funny. But I guess like Pikachu X wasn't that strong anyway after Genetic Apex meta, so yeah. So that's gonna be it for today. Thanks a lot for watching, subscribe for more content, and I hope to see you again very soon.
bye.